Revelation 20, the most mistaught chapter in the entire Bible, in my opinion. So let's try to teach it very simply, very easily to understand. Okay, first of all, let's keep in mind that there's nothing in the book of Revelation that conflicts with Matthew 24, Mark 13, or Luke 21. Also, let's be mindful of the context. Now, in Revelation 17, 18, and 19, we were shown a vision of the judgment of the great whore, the thing that is and is to come. Now, in Revelation 20, we are seeing another vision, okay? And this vision is a picture, if you will, of what is and what was and what will be. All right. So let's try to look at this in a very simple and easy sort of way. All right. Let's try to clear all things up. If you have any confusion, let's clear them up today. Revelation 20. And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years, and cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more, till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And after that he must be loosed a little season. Okay, so in my opinion, the way I see it, is sort of like God is letting loose his pit bull. Okay, so the pit bull is going to go out there and he's going to deceive the nations. In other words, he's going to bring them all together. He's going to go out there and he's going to bark fire, fire, fire,
A fire?
and then he's going to draw them all together. All right, and then this will be when we are up in the air with the Lord. All right, but let's keep reading so we understand. And I saw thrones. Okay, first of all, keep in mind thrones. Let me read the whole thing here. And I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. This is not the judgment of who goes to heaven and who goes to hell. Who's saved and who's not saved. We don't make that sort of judgment. Okay, we are. First of all, let's get us an understanding. A throne is a royal seat, okay? And then, of course, in 1 Peter 2, we are a royal priesthood, okay? So we have authority from God, all right? We that are saved, we are that are born of the Spirit of God. We have authority. We are kings and priests of God, okay? We are a royal priesthood. We are a holy nation. All right, keep that in mind. And then it says here, and I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Jesus and for the word of God, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands, and they lived and reigned with Christ 1,000 years. Okay, now keep in mind here, this is giving examples of things that are going to happen to those of us that are born of God, okay? There are going to be people, and I saw souls of them that were beheaded. Okay, so we're going to be very hated, right? This is consistent with everything that we've read in the Bible. All right, and the beast uh, and his image and his mark, these are all spiritual things. And the beast obviously is the Roman Catholic Church, and you could look at the word worship as respect. So if you are respecting your political leaders, thinking, oh, Barack Obama's going to save you or Donald Trump's going to save you, this is a form of worship. If you're worshiping politicians, and then at the top of the politician pyramid, if you will, is the Pope. So this is how it all connects. All right, if you've been paying attention to what we've been reading in the previous chapters, you ought to understand it. It's very simple. And then also, and they lived and reigned with Christ 1,000 years. And how people read that and are blind to it is beyond me. I can't, I don't want to go over everything that's being taught wrong. I just want to teach what's right. Obviously, this is talking about they are those of us who are born of God. We live and reign with Christ 1,000 years. And how in the world people are twisting this around to Christ reigning 1,000 years is beyond me. Okay, so we can read in Luke and verse 33, Luke 1 verse 33, if I'm remembering correctly. And he shall reign over the house of Jacob forever, and his kingdom there shall be no end. So this idea that Jesus reigns for 1,000 years and then as he stops reigning, it's so stupid. It's, you got it all backwards. Get it right. I'm not sure why people are blind to it. I really don't understand it. But if you see it, then God bless you, okay? Because it's not that complicated. It's not rocket science. Okay, here we go. But the rest of the dead live not again until 1,000 years were finished. This is the first resurrection. Okay, so this is consistent with like what we read in Daniel. And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt. All right, so those of us that die in the body in this time period, we will be resurrected uh, on the last day. Right, pretty simple, right? But the rest of the dead live not again until 1,000 years are finished. This is the first resurrection. Now, Jesus is the first resurrection. All right, he's the first begotten of the dead. All right, so those of us that are born of God, we are partakers of that resurrection. All right, so if you, and this is consistent all through the Bible. So we that are born of God have that Spirit in us. Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that hears my word and believes on him that sent me has everlasting life, and shall not come into condemnation, but is passed from death unto life. So we don't have life until we are born again, born of the Spirit of God, when we are believers in Jesus Christ. Okay? Until then, we're dead. But then, once we believe, then we are now alive. Okay. Very consistent with everything that we've read in the Bible. All right. And then, of course, when Jesus comes back now, this is when we are redeemed from the earth. Okay. And we are, because we are paid for. Jesus redeems us. He cashes us in, and we are transformed, if you will, changed in the twinkling of an eye, and given the immortal bodies. We're going from mortal bodies to immortal bodies, consistent with everything we've read in the Bible. Blessed and holy is he that has part in the first resurrection. On such the second death has no power. But they shall be priests of God and of Christ, and shall reign with him 1,000 years. All right, so I think everything here is already explained. It should be very simple, right? And when the 1,000 years are expired, the hound dog is loosed. That is, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison, and he shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them together to battle, the number of whom is as the sand of the sea. All right, this is again speaking symbolically and spiritually. He's going to go out and he's going to gather them all together. All right, and it's going to be as if they're going to try to battle us, if you will. All right, and they went up on the breadth of the earth and compassed the camp. Encompassed the camp of the saints about and the beloved city, and fire came down from God out of heaven and devoured them. Now, when they are compassed the camp of the saints about. This is when we are up in the air with the Lord, and they are down below at our feet. You've heard the phrase, until he has made his enemies his footstool, right? And okay, so let's do this right. Okay, because this is mentioned numerous times, right? Um, right there, Psalm 110. The Lord said unto my Lord, sit thou at my right hand until I make thine enemies thy footstool. This is what it's referring to. All right, all right, yeah. I mean, come on, man. Everything's making sense. It's all coming together now, right? And so when they are gathered together at our feet, we're up in the air, and fire comes down from God out of heaven and devours them all. And the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, where the beast and the false prophet are, and shall be tormented day and night forever and ever. All right, so we understand the devil and Satan, dragon, serpent, so forth, cast into the lake of fire. The beast being the Roman Catholic Church, but bigger than that, it's the world system. Okay, and the false prophet being the false teachers. Okay, and so that's all the wickedness of the world is going to be cast into the lake of fire. All right, and I saw a great white throne, and him that sat on it, from whose face the earth and heaven fled away, and there was found no place for them. The great white throne is Jesus Christ. There's no way around it. Okay, so if you are honest and you say, yeah, that's Jesus Christ, then you have to say, okay, that this idea that 1,000 years is coming after the return of Jesus, it's gone. Because this is the return of the Lord Jesus Christ after the 1,000 years. All right, and then, of course, here in Matthew 24:29, the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. This is parallel with from whose face the earth and heaven fled away, and there was found no place for them. All right, and I saw the dead, small and great, stand before God, and the books were open, and another book was opened, which is the book of life, and the dead were judged out of those things which were written in the books, according to their works. And the sea gave up the dead which were in it, and death and hell delivered up the dead which were in them, and they were judged every man according to the works. So again, remember what I showed you in Daniel 12, and many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt. Okay, completely consistent on the last day, right? And death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death. And whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire. All right, so that's the end of Revelation 20. I hope that's explained as simple as possible. It's really not that complicated, but man, oh man, oh man, do people get this wrong. It's unbelievable. But now listen, Revelation 21 gets very good. All right, Revelation 21 might be the greatest chapter in the entire Bible because it shows us what it's all for. Right, so I'll end it right there, and next one, 21.